Okay, I said 4:15, but I meant 4:25, apparently. All right, let's see. Here we go now. Hello, hello, and welcome to the RO Show. This is Rufus Opus, and I'm happy to be joining you live from Pacific Northwest. Running a little late today. My some business to attend to that came up that was more important than even this, which is one of the most important things that I do in life. So, but even this has to be postponed on occasion. But we got that taken care of, sorted out, and was able to resolve some stressors in some people's lives in a nice way. So I'm happy about that. But I'm sorry I was running late. Today, I would like to talk about some changes that I'm going to be implementing on my site. So I've got this new job, and I'm working a really weird schedule now, and it's not the same as it used to be, and I don't have the time to commit to things that I used to have. And I just can't do the same kind of stuff I was doing. It's kind of like I'm losing access to some things, but it's opening up new pathways for others. So I'm kind of like, at first I thought I was making the best out of a bad situation, but it became apparent to me right away that this is sort of like the way lightning branches and forks just sort of appear in the path that make total sense when you look at it in the video, but you never could have predicted before you see it, though. That's exactly what's going on right now. My lightning bolt path is branching off, and I'm just able to see how it all is going to sort of begin to manifest, I think. So yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. It's yeah. So where to start? First of all, if you go to my website, rufusopus.com, the current setup is, if you go to basic curriculum, no fee, there's a conjuration class. This is where you can take the courses in conjuring a great better life, right? I think that's what I call this. Oh yeah, courses in conjuring new worlds is what I called this page. The courses in conjuring new worlds is about all the stuff that that I think you should learn about in the rebel orphan phase of the great work, right? And this is based on interpreting Zeus's life as a metaphor for the path and the transition points that a magician goes through as they attain full awareness of their role in the chain of manifestation as a magician, what it means to conjure spirits and speak things into being within the framework of the great work, within the framework of the Corpus Hermeticum, and within the framework of the Derveni manuscript, the Orphic mystery tradition, that indicated that Zeus was all in all, that Zeus was the demiurge. And it provides a means and a method for us to attain an experience of God, and of self and of awareness, that changes our perception of magic in a way that empowers it and makes it super more effective at manifesting the things that you really want in life in terms of experiences, rather than the things that stand in the way of getting those experiences, right? So like, you can always think of reasons that you don't have what you want, right? But most of those are, I don't have enough money, right? And then from the not having enough money, you have all these other problems, right? But that's not really why you don't have what you want. Okay, it's not why you don't have what you want. You don't have what you want because you're not manifesting it, man. You're not vibing it into being. You're stuck in a pattern of expecting a thing to happen, within a set of rules that you don't So you can't have it happen outside that set of rules. But what occult powers do is it lets us have things happen outside the rules, right? It opens up an entire universe for us to be able to manipulate things. The initiation process purifies our ability to, like, I want to say, like, channel the powers of the planets, as it were, or conduct the forces in harmony with what our intentions are. It gives us a clearer signal, which gives us more impact on our environment. It's a process of transformation, and it's a process of clarification. It's a process of, like, a friend of mine, Frater in Telekaya, is doing some stuff in Thelema. Well, it's not even Thelema anymore. It's beyond. It's way beyond what modern Thelema looks like. But he's pursuing things in terms that I think are very interesting, in terms of, like, clarity and signal, and it's an interesting parallel to what I've been experiencing within the Zeus cult stuff that I've been doing. So anyway, it's just, I think that there's a lot going on of what I consider to be advanced occult practices are being revealed to a lot of people all at once, I think. And I think a lot of people are sick of doing the same old crap that you get out of a book, right? And we've got these systems that we've learned. We've got these processes that we understand now. What are we going to do with that? Like, how do we start turning it into something more? For me, the way that I've learned how to do that came as a result of doing the great work, right? And just it took me about 5 years, I think, to really grind it out. Not even really that. I want to say, like, maybe 3 years. I don't know. It was a process, right? But anyway, it's a process of integrating things and really being willing to let go of stuff that you think is more important than it is. But it results in embracing a different understanding and a perspective on how things manifest. It's based on this idea that Zeus is the head, Zeus is the middle, and Zeus is the all in all. So let's see, Julian, great to be here. I wanted to ask you what you recommend in terms of purity for the very first time we initiate into a sphere. What is the most important part for the first initiation? No processed food, meat, fasting, sexual abstinence, digital detox, all that for sure. I know it's much more casual after first contact. All right, so I definitely, I am not a very, I believe that purity is of the heart, right? It has nothing to do with it's not what the man puts into his mouth that makes a man holy, but what comes out of it is what I learned when I was a child. It's your intention, the purity that you have going into it is what matters. And in the Divine Pymander, it talks about how when you pursue the divine, you become more attuned with it, and the evil daemon goes away from you, right? So you're not, like, pursuing all this vain shit. So when it comes to what makes a thing impure, what makes these things impure, right? And it goes down to, is it distracting you from your experience of everything, or is it contributing to it? So I go down the path of not quite hedonism, but more like ecumenicalism. Is that what it's called? Where you think everything is delicious? Like enjoying the pleasures of life as a Epicureanism. That's what it is. Epicureanism, I think, is where I kind of tend to land with that. If you're purely enjoying these things, I don't think there's anything wrong with sex. If it's good sex, if it's pure holy sex, and there's a difference between just corrupt sex that doesn't lead to pleasure or happiness or a feeling of satisfaction versus a very holy, pure sex that brings contentment, joy, and synergistic bliss on both parties' experiences, or however many people are participating. When you're exchanging energy, you end up with more than what you start with. But if one person's trying to take all the energy, it just sucks, right? We understand how that works. So yeah, it's there's purity and then there's not purity. If you need to be focused and you just want that spiritual clarity that comes from detoxing, which there really is a beneficial physical change in your chemistry and your whole trance state stuff. I recommend the vegetarian stuff, like you eat a salad, like in the early afternoon. Like you start with like just like yogurt and stuff in the morning, maybe granola if you're into that. Even grains can be too heavy for some people, and if you're not into dairy, yogurt's not going to be doing you any good. But you got to find something that's light and not too much. And you eat like a little bit in the morning, and then you do like water fast during the day, and you have like a light meal in the evening of vegetables and maybe some light carbs, rice or beans or something like that, and just kind of ease yourself off for like 3 days, and you don't do any kind of sexual experiences where you don't orgasm. You just kind of take all of your everything that you're giving up for this period. You focus, basically you use it as a reminder of what you're doing. So like when you're hungry, you'd say, oh gosh, this hunger makes me remember that I'm being purified for this task. This is all a way of psyching yourself up that puts you in a very different kind of mental state. That's very it makes you more receptive to the tune of the spirits when they show up, right? So they're going to come in, they're going to vibrate, and if you just had a giant cheeseburger with lots of fried onions on it and all this avocado, it was worth it. And even with the holiest of hearts, you got to understand that when you go into the room, you're going to be bringing in a meaty vibe with you because you just had a meaty meal, and it's not a very spiritual vibe, and it's nothing wrong with that. It's not worse than or whatever. You don't have less contact with the spirits if you don't feel it as much, right? It turns out that they can hear you no matter what the fuck you feel like in the moment. They're listening. They can hear your voice. They vibrate with your intention, right? And if you're too dense to be able to feel the vibrations that are going on, it doesn't mean those vibrations aren't there, and just because you aren't feeling the vibrations in the moment doesn't mean that you aren't attuning those vibrations anyway. All right, you got to remember that, like, I think it was Bach or Beethoven was deaf. These guys, they go deaf. That doesn't mean they aren't brilliant musicians. You feel the vibrations and you can still know what's going on. It's not rocket science. It's just physics. It's basic physics, acoustics, I think. So, yeah, so, hey, Agatha, how's it going? You're as much of a sensei as I am, that's for sure. The idea that we are, yeah, masturbation is not a problem, right? Think of it as a way of clearing yourself out, too, of tensions and frustrations, right? Because the purer you are, the more you're going to be able to sense these energies. And if you're all vibrating from retaining your semen, there are some people who they retain their semen and they feel super charged by that sexual frustration, and they just use that as a vibe of that they can vibe against everything else against, because they've got this strong sexual frustration they've cultivated in themselves. I think that blows. The other side of that is just not having any sexual frustration, making sure that you're continually clean of these sexual urges that are so distracting, right? And that's just, you have to have a healthy understanding of sexuality and your own sexual impulses, and not be a fucking complete gooning piece of shit. You can't. I'm not saying that by any means. You just gotta like, you just gotta be devoted to being a holy person, right? And just being clean and pure in all the ways, including like not being sexually frustrated if you want to be pure that way. However, if you want to go I think in a lot of ways it's easier just to be an ascetic. You can just refrain. All right. So anyway, what else was there? All right, so back to the classes. Anyway, back to the classes. So all the stuff that's on my site today is going to still be there. It's all free. It's all whatever. That's not going to change. If you've got a membership out here, you can continue doing it that way. It's fine. That's the way to go for the free stuff. That's going to be our basic course material stuff. This is everything that I think you need to kind of do all this stuff. It's not the advanced materials or the stuff that I was charging for before. So all that stuff I've moved over to my YouTube channel. And I'm putting it all under the guise of the Orphic Zeus cult. Now, if you go into the Orphic Zeus cult, I have a booklet. Where is it? There's my enlightening book. I might have deleted it. Yeah. All right. So over here. You go into my shop where I sell all my expensive stuff. And where's that? Here it is. Ebook. So in the ebooks, I have this enlightenment book, right? And this basically shows the outline of what the Zeus cult is all about. Breaks the life of Zeus down into the different phases, called the rebel orphan, from when he was a child until he was getting ready to overthrow his father. The Titanomachy phase, where he was actually fighting against the Titans, and the Olympic king phase, when he was ruling as a king, and then also the Orphic phase, where he becomes the demiurge, right? And that's more of a personal thing, of course. So that's let me see if I have that open, actually. All right, hang on a sec. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Ta-da. All right, so here's the book, right? So this is Enlightenment, right? And it basically breaks it down into the different phases of a magician's life. And this is sort of like what I had in mind for like an occult order, if you will, but more like a mystery tradition for magicians who are pursuing an understanding of their Hermetic entitlements, the powers that we were told in the Corpus Hermeticum were given to us on our way down to the material world, being in harmony with the seven spheres and the forces that the governors shared with us to create our world, so that we can establish our own scenarios, that we can experience those and our own situations that we want to go through before we die, or to the degree that we're able to, based on the backdrop of events that fate has woven together for whatever purposes. Against that backdrop, we can be our magician selves, right? And the Corpus Hermeticum says that we can create those experiences to a large degree. My motto, a lot of my mottos, or one of my many mottos, is that life is hard, but magic helps, right? And I don't think we can change the big things that are going to, I think there's always going to be something to fight against and overcome. I think that's where good comes from in this world, is by defeating evil. Whatever, I wish it wasn't so hard right now. I wish there wasn't so much evil to choose from, Anyway, being a magician helps, is all I'm saying. The process that I've explained here in this little booklet basically takes you through what you're doing as a magician, right? So as a rebel orphan, you're basically going through all the this is all the backstory of all the myths that I believe. All right, here you go. The rebel orphan phase. Here, zoom in a little bit. Ta-da! Okay, so in this phase you go from being a noob to understanding the basic concepts of magic, spirits, spells, and magicians. You learn the basics of aligning yourself and nature in accord so that you get your desired outcomes. Now, if you go back to my website, to the basic curriculum free stuff, that's basically what these basic curriculum stuff is about. conjuration, tutelary spirits, principles of planetary magic. I've provided that stuff basically free here. It's going to stay free over here. But going forward, you can also go over to my YouTube channel, and if you join up as a YouTube member, you're going to get access to more stuff. And the way this YouTube membership works is it's basically like Patreon. Based on how much you pay a month, you get access to different levels of videos and whatnot. And so with my new job schedule, it just makes more sense for me to do this. I'm also writing a new book, or 3, that I hope to publish over the next year or 2. I mean, hopefully sooner, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, between that and this layout, I'll have time to do all the things that I still want to do and enjoy the life that I'm building for myself, because that's also important. So anyway, I've broken it down into the layers of that I talked about in the this one, the Rebel Orphan, the Titanomachy, and the Olympic Ruler. I don't have a Demiurgos layer for sure, but these are just basically for what I think. So while I was just offering the things for free, I would get people that would want to speak to me on a regular basis, and they would pay me for my time. And they would end up asking me specific questions, and they had a lot of things that I think would be beneficial to talk about in a group setting, like in an Ask Me Anything kind of thing. So what I've done is I've set up the Rebel Orphan layer on my thing that's going to be like just for that, to provide that extra layer of support for people who are going through this basics of aligning yourself and nature with in accord with your whatever, this initial phase from going from being a noob to understanding the basic concepts of magic, right? If you want to be a part of that, it's $24.95, and what you get with that is the I'm going to add this intro to the Rebel Orphan phase. It's going to be sort of an overview of what it is to do the great work within the model of the Zeus cult, right? And what to expect along the way, how to do it, and how to use the resources, how to become an attuned magician who's attuned with the spheres, who has dealt with their stuff that comes up as you're going through initiations, a chance to talk to people who've been through it, a chance to help other people go through it if you're able to do that kind of thing. It's going to include the classes that I've already given on magical powers, the class stuff about doing the great work, an overview of what that's like. I'm going to do special events along the way where we just have like conversations. And the reason that this is a paid for level is because it's geared for people who are more interested in getting this kind of information and who ended up seeking me out anyway, right? So if you're somebody who would have already wanted to talk to me enough to actually pay me for my time, this would be an opportunity for you to get the same level of help that I was given other people. Yeah. So with that, you're going to get the same conjuration class, tutelary spirits, and 7 sphere stuff. I'm going to provide some updated stuff that's more in tune with the inner revelations I've been having about the Zeus current. It's not all UPG. It's all based on actual manuscripts and texts. It's not just Rufus made up a bunch of shit when he was high. It's just Rufus was high and saw a bunch of shit and sobered up and kind of documented it and just put together a system based on that. So it's all I think academically sound. I do take a lot of liberties along the way and project my emotional reinterpretations of events, but that's my prerogative. I'm the mystagogue. I am telling you what the myths mean. That's what a mystagogue does. We have been tracked back to the early 3rd century BC. There was a big bunch of us mystagogues hitting the Mediterranean scene, and we were making people understand things about the myths that were beyond what the Hesiod would have you think was. What the heck is that? That's my face. Dear Lord, no. Okay. Just right there. Sorry, my screen doesn't seem to be appropriately sized for some reason. I probably grabbed it. Yeah, I'm not OCD. I'm not OCD. Oh, I see what that is. It's the words down here. Sorry, that was driving me crazy for a second. Okay. So anyway, classes, right? So there's going to be this additional class and some additional topics that I go over at least once a month for these things. There's going to be a monthly members only Ask Me Anything, so I'm going to do like a presentation on something like I'm going to do an intro to the Rebel Orphan phase. That's going to be like September probably the 6th, Saturday the 6th is what I'm looking at right now. So Saturday the 6th, I'm going to do a intro to the Rebel Orphan phase kind of class, I guess, presentation. It's going to be available to everybody who's a Rebel Orphan member. Go ahead and sign up now, por favor, it'd be great. And then we'll go over basically everything that I think about what magic is, what doing the great work is, the point of it, right, and how to use the materials of that are going to be available in the course. You're going to have access to the conjuration class, tutelary spirits, and the 7 spheres. That's the principles of planetary magic class. You'll also have access to the 7 spheres initiation rites. These are the initiation hypnosis videos that I put together that I was charging like $49 each for, and then it turned out that when you purchased it, you would get the whole playlist. Apparently, I didn't realize that that's how it worked. But anyway, all of these videos, all 7, will be available to you at the Rebel Orphan phase. So this is the phase of your magic where you internalize the magic, you go through the classes, and you take the classes, you learn the stuff, and then you do these initiation rites. And I made these hypnosis videos to help you do those initiation rites. So that you take all 7 of those every other day from the moon up through Saturn, and let those spirits do those initiations. I probably need to re-record those. Those are the ones I did a long time ago, but I've re-released the script. I'll have to put a link up sometime for that. But that's what you would use for that. I'm also going to put together, I haven't done it yet, but there's going to be a similar HGA initiation rite that you can listen to. It'd be a hypnosis thing where I take you through the same basic path through the forest to the chapel and put you under hypnosis and have you conjure your holy guardian angel and have it reveal to you that it's been there the whole time, the whole shebang, right? And then you'll return to full awareness, and even though you left the temple, you'll remember that the HJ is with you, above you, and slightly behind you on your left-hand side, right? That's where mine is. I'm going to tell you that's where yours is, whether you want to hear it or not. But basically, it's a Persinger's. It has to do with some research this guy did into magnetic fields on the brain. Anyway, it's an easy way to trick yourself or trick yourself into being aware of your holy guardian angel, is to place your awareness above and slightly behind your head on the left. For some reason, that's where the holy guardian angel seems to speak through most clearly. So anyway, we'll do that as the initiation meditation thing that's based on my whole process of what all is going on with this whole system. You also have access to a monthly Ask Me Anything, and so if you're already a member of the Keep the Lights On, I have a Keep the Lights On level membership that's like $2.99 a month. That's just like thanks Rufus for helping out. That's what you can do for that. But this will continue to give you the 10% off. But you get the 10% off stuff on my store for being a Keep the Lights On member. But you'll get the same 10% off here for the Rebel Orphan phase. But you'll also, I'm going to be making these little silver talismans that you'll get. And what'll have our Zeus medallion on it, which is that right there. That the eye and the lightning, that's the Zeus medallion. And it'll also have on the back of it Do I have it? Yes, I do. Okay, let me get rid of. Nope, not that. Sorry, just a moment. Nope, not that. That. Okay. Now back to here. Okay, so on the back of it, it's going to have the image of Aches. So this is the Gorgon Aches. It is the head of Aches was the original Gorgon that was depicted on the shield of Aegis, that was also depicted on the earliest pottery shards, that showed who the Gorgon was that was painted on the Aegis's hide so that it would terrify the enemy. And Aches was the first Gorgon that Zeus killed in the Titanomachy, and it was Aches's head, not the Gorgon that came later, that was the cursed priestess who had sex with Poseidon. I don't remember if it was Poseidon or not, but I mean, it was Poseidon, but I don't remember if it was a priestess or not. But Medusa was not the Gorgon that was on the Aegis. It was Aches, and this is an image of Aches that was drawn by Adeline Soothtel, one of my favorite artists in the occult community, who has a very distinct style, who also did the Zeus eye in the where is that? This one. All right, so it's going to have that on one side and that on the other side. Of course, it'll be in black and white, or it's going to be engraved in silver, so it's not going to be in color, of course. But yeah, so that'll be the talisman that you get with the Rebel Orphan phase. I haven't figured out yet how I'm gonna. I think what I'm gonna have to do is set up a product on my website that you buy, and then that'll just be for free because you'll have the coupon code for it that you get with the Rebel Orphan phase. Anyway, I thought Rebel Orphan was a cool way to put it because it's RO, right? You know, but ever since then I've been like Rebel Orphan, so it doesn't mean anything. And it's like a rubber word. But anyway, after the Rebel Orphan phase, Zeus entered the Titanomachy phase, where he was fighting the titanic forces in his life. This is where I'm moving the materials that I used to provide through the Conjuring a Prosperous Life course and the X-Hex course, and I talked about the fixing, the Harmoneicon. I haven't figured out exactly what to do with that yet, but that's going to also be provided here with this monthly fee of $49.99. This is where you'll actually be fighting the titanic forces in your life. In addition, you will also get the free Fascinus and fourth Pinnacle of Jupiter, just a little, like, not very large. Don't get your hopes up if you're thinking for something huge. And they're about an inch wide, right? 25 millimeters, I think, is how big they are. But it's you'll get a free Fascinus and a free fourth Pinnacle of Jupiter. And the Fascinus Pinnacle I'm talking about isn't just the Fascinus. It's got Venus Vitrix on one side with the second Pinnacle of Venus on it, and then the Fascinus on the other, and it represents the marriage of Aphrodite Arenos, but in the guise of Aphrodite armed for war Ariana, and the power of the generative force that was represented by the Fascinus, which was the phallus that was cut off of Arenos by Cronus in the first place, right? So that image is the union of the creative masculine and the creative feminine that are the generative force of existence, right? So that's a very powerful talisman that I think all by itself is pretty cool. But anyway, that you get for free after 90 days. So after if you've paid for this for 3 times, you'll get both the fourth Pinnacle of Jupiter and one of these Fascinus talismans. It also includes the Venus Vitrix on the other side for that. And you'll also get the Hecaton Kyres talisman, which is something I haven't released yet. I was hoping to have one ready to go as a sample, but I haven't had the time when the stars were right. Let me get rid of this and go back to that. Okay, so This is also art by Adeline. So Adeline did the Fascinus. That's the Fascinus. And the Zeus thing, that I think I did that. Let me see if I can find it here. These are all my Adeline files. Here it is. Okay, so this is the Hecaton Kyres talisman. This is going to be engraved in silver. It says, as the Hecaton Kyres unto the Titans. This symbolizes the three Titans who Hecate released from Tartarus to fight on your side, to fight on Zeus's side against the titanic forces that stood against them in life. So this represents the actual overthrowing of the titanic forces in your life. It's going to be a talisman that I release publicly probably by the end of September, but it'll be free to people who are at this level, and it will go hand in glove with these the X-Hex and Conjuring a Prosperous Life stuff. And it also has to do a lot with the shadow work that people hate to do. It has a lot of value to so it's easy to think of it as just bearing everything down where it can't hurt you. But what it does is it gives you the power to overcome some of the titanic forces ultimately that have been always been so close to the surface of your life that they were destroying your ability to deal with it. It doesn't. What it represents is that no matter how close to being completely gone from your life your trauma is, you're always going to carry some kind of scar or some memory of being traumatized, right? There's always going to be some part of you that was shaped into that being. And even when you've healed it, transformed it, and become something new, you'll remember that. There's going to be part of your tone, your resonance, that's always going to have that aspect to it. That experience is indelibly marked into your life, and it doesn't have to be terrible forever. It can become a beautiful thing. Like all gold can be refined from terrible, awful stuff, right? When you return to that noble state through the powers of the sun, it's a beautiful thing, right? But at the same time, you will always remember that you had a bad, terrible experience that happened to you, and even when it's not bothering you anymore and it's not impacting your choices and your judgment, that still was a part of you. What the Hecaton Kyres did to the Titans is they buried it so deep with the rocks that they were no longer able to impact the rule of the gods. All right, it doesn't mean that they were gone away forever. The Titans were still there. They were just so far down under the earth that they could no longer impact the rulership of Zeus and his siblings. They were gone for all intents and purposes. In the same way that your trauma is never truly gone, like it never, ever happened. You can be completely healed, don't get me wrong, but in the same way that it's never gone, the Titans are still buried underneath the Hecaton Kyres, and that's what this force does. It begins the process of burying them down, and this was the ultimate end of the powers that stood between Zeus and his rulership, right? And once you get through your rulership, that's when you get to the part where you're in the Olympic ruler phase. And this is completely optional. You don't need me for jack shit at that point at all. I think that I'm very helpful with the Titanomachy phase. Oops. I think what I have to offer is very, very helpful in the Jesus, why is that so big? I feel like everything's so big. What the hell? Who built this screen? Oh, I think I know what it is. Yeah, all right, well, whatever. I'm just gonna leave it like that. So anyway, it's I think that this stuff is pretty useful, right? This whole Titanomachy stuff with the free talisman. I think these talismans are very key to a lot of my health and happiness in life, are just understanding how creation works, right? Between the masculine and feminine formulas of of sexual bonds with a lot of the whole. And I know that there's a lot more genders than male and female. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the biological process that is masculine and feminine. There's a creative process there that is dominant in our natural world, and it's well, that's not really dominant even. It's just pretty obvious. Anyway, it's an aspect of creation and existence. But understanding how to use that in your power here in our monkey suits, where sexuality has a lot to do with our brain chemistry, it's helped put everything in order. So once you get harmonized with that Venus current and what it means in your life, it changes everything. And especially as a Taurus, you know, who's ruled by Venus, it's very important for that kind of thing to get there. So that Fastness Talisman, I think, by itself is worth the monthly rates. And by the way, you can stop at any time. You don't have to keep paying all these rates. But you don't get these talismans for free until after 90 days, because, I mean, fuck that. Those are really good stuff. And the fourth pinnacle of Jupiter, I'm going to be able to make those until June of next year on any given Thursday. So plenty of time for those. And that Hecatonchires talisman, I'm going to be charging some money for that. I don't know what I'm going to charge. That'll be available outside of this. But it's a really cool thing. I wanted to build a little talisman spirit pot out of it, where you put your idea or whatever it is you want to be buried underneath a pile of stones, underneath that talisman with the Hecatonchires under it. I think it's awesome, but I haven't figured out how to make the pots in a healthy way. The way I was doing it was just very time consuming. I just don't have time to do that to sell stuff anymore. I'd be like, I'd have to charge like $300 for it, and it's just, they're nice, but I mean, I don't know. I think I'd rather just sell talismans so I can burn in a quick hurry at the right time. So anyway, yeah, so with the Titanomachy, you get the X-Hex course materials, and that's the videos, the PDF, and the hypnosis rites. The PDF has the rituals if you want to do them yourself. The hypnosis rites take you through a hypnosis trance. You just have to perform them in the planetary hours on the dawn of the Saturday, the Sunday, and the Friday. Conjuring a Prosperous Life materials include the course videos, the introduction, and all the other materials that come with it. The PDF source materials and the hypnosis rites for the release rites, and the combined all seven spheres manifestation rite, which makes more sense within the context of all that. But in addition, I'll have, every once in a while, I'll do a walkthrough of either the X-Hex or the Conjuring a Prosperous Life thing, where we work on it together. And I'll also make available the, I haven't got it on there because I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but the Harmoneicon, which I think is part of the whole Titanum, is getting yourself in harmony with your natal chart. I think that's a very important thing. And then the last phase is the Olympic Ruler. This is $200 a month, and that's because I had somebody who wanted to be an ongoing student of mine who wanted to have like an hour of my time on a regular basis. They were paying quite a bit more than that, but this is just like if you want like a monthly reading or interpretation or consultation or something, I will sit down with you for an hour a month as time permits. But also my online events are all going to be free, so I eventually want to start doing some online conference kind of stuff for the people who are interested in the cult, right? As our interest grows, we shall continue to dominate the world. But also, like, I want to reach out to have other people who are exploring Orphic mystery traditions and the impact on their occult, and also pretty much anybody who's into some very practical applications of some fundamentally harmonious ritual techniques, which are, I think, pretty apparent throughout our community and our current occult experience. But I also want to start bridging the gap into some of the other cooler stuff that I've experienced that are a little bit stranger. So anyway, as I have public events become available, if they're online, they'll be free. If I'm sponsoring them and they're at a conference, I plan to have conferences and events at hotels and stuff. But when I get to that point, all of those you'll just have to pay cost. If you're a member of this $200 a month thing during the month of the the thing, and yeah, I promise you, it's gonna be not. I don't know. I don't know how worth it it's going to be. But also, if you have a cool project in mind and you can shoot me the specs, and it doesn't sound like it's too hard or it's too complicated, I will take on some custom laser engraving or woodwork projects, because I'm always curious about some cool stuff that you might have in mind. If you don't mind sharing that with me, because I might turn it into profit, but I'll totally credit whoever. I might not give you any money of that. Just kidding. We'll figure out something, of course. But if it's like personal work or something like that, if you need just like something engraved, or if you wanted to do a custom run of something, I'd be happy to work with you on that if you want to. If it's not too hard, and I'll just charge you cost if you're a member of the Olympic Rulers level on my site. So to do the site thing, go over here. I signed in here as my in private one, so you can actually see what it is. If you go to my Rufus Opus channel, the subscribe button is how you actually subscribe, just as a normal subscription. Join is where you go to. Oh crap! I'm not gonna be able to do it because I'm not. Anyway, you have to sign in to become a member. I wonder if I can use my. Maybe I can do it like this one. Can I just use my watch? Hang on a second, I don't even want you to see this. Haha. Just a moment. If it's the right one or not. All right. Interesting. Oh, I see why. Okay. So anyway, let me go back to this other one. Okay. So if you hit the join button, you'll be able to pick your level of joining. So Keep the Lights On is $2.99 a month. You just click join. Rebel Orphan is $24.99 a month. That shows you get the RO's basic of magic classes, planetary initiation, and HGA conjuration hypnosis rights, and your monthly group instruction / ask me anything, and discounts on merchandise. The Titanomachy is at $49.99, and the Olympic Ruler is at $199.99. So it sounds like it's ridiculous in terms of money, but I don't think I'm actually charging any more than people were paying me before when I was offering all this stuff for free. But I think this way it gives me a more organized format to present the information, and a better structure for keeping me on track with keeping things going, because I'm also working on a book, a series of books perhaps, on all the stuff that I'm working on and talking about all the time, because I've had enough people ask me to do that. So that's the new format of stuff, and basically as I produce more stuff related to that channel and the membership stuff, it's going to feed into my books and vice versa. So expect a book on basically doing the great work using just the magic that I've produced on these different classes, right? So like the initiations, the overview of the Zeus stuff, the role of the magician in the universe as a conjuration thing, the 7 spheres classes, like imagine that as like one giant thing, right? Or whatever. I don't know how to do all that stuff. That's too much information. I'll figure out something. For sure. Anyway, that's what I got going on for new stuff. Do please join up. I would super appreciate it. And that's what I've got going on. So, all right. So let's see. Okay, got it. Okay, Julian says, as a low energetic state, leading to not. Okay, that's all I got for my stuff I wanted to talk about today. I'm kind of super tired, to be honest. It's been a long series of stuff. Where's my... Okay. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about the Zeus cult today. I wanted to talk about different things that we could do in the future. I am looking forward to doing the conferences because I think there's a lot of potential out here in the Pacific Northwest for a lot of cool stuff to be done. I don't want to do just simple everybody sits around and gossips all day long at the luncheons while a few snotty people give their pretentious opinions on a bunch of bullshit that doesn't matter to people. I want it to be something that's fun, interesting, practical, that's life-changing, that is harmonic and brings joy, right? And not just joy, but like fun joy, right? There's a power in the land in the Pacific Northwest, and you feel it in the autumn and you feel it in the spring especially, but I feel it in the wintertime too. Summertime, everything dries up and I fucking hate it. Too much sun. But the rest of the time, you can feel a sense of the life that is different than anything I've felt anywhere else in life, right? And I want to do retreats, and I want to do hermetic initiations. I want to do transformative rites that are beneficial to everybody. I want to do stuff at there's this place that has yurts. You can just like rent yurts, have like combined yurt stuff. I don't know. Anyway, it's just there's a lot of potential for doing stuff, and I'd like to see that happen over time. But yeah, so that's where things are going eventually. So thank you all for the journey so far. It's been a lot of fun, but I'm going to keep doing my weekly shows too for free, and offering all the other classes and stuff that I have for free. So that's not going to change. And as I make updates to the materials, I'll make updates to the materials to all the materials. It's not going to be something that I hope it's clear that I'm not really charging anything more than what I was getting before anyway. It's a different format of doing the same old thing. All right, so right, yeah, Virgo 12, I get it. I'm doing the same thing. Okay. Love sign for yeah, okay, yeah, all right, cool. Domination with the inspiration huzzah, yeah. I'm about to order your conjure kit online as a way of giving back to you and making absolutely. Yeah, the conjure kits are a lot of fun, and I just finished making one for somebody. I just boxed it up. I haven't even shipped it out yet. I printed off the label after like a month of the guy waiting. I feel sorry for him, but I apologize. But in the process, I have another one ready to go. So yeah, it's a good time to order one, the conjure kits. Those I made one, like I said, I made all the guts for it yesterday, and it took me about, I want to say like half an hour to do a whole one, and it used to take me about 4 hours, right? So I was thinking about how things are, it's interesting how things get easier over time. Yeah, get that, and also I've got a new set of talismans. I wish I hadn't boxed up the one I just made for him. But the new set of talismans is it shows. You know what? I'll just pull this up. Teach. Okay. Not that. Dun. So I'm working on a new one of these. All right. So this is the latest way of doing things that I have in mind. All right, so the new set of talismans is going to have just this, the symbol of the planetary power, the planet, like the power of the planet, the moon, right? And then the name of the archangel and the seal of the archangel on one side. And then on the other side, it's going to have the names of the 4 spirits of each planetary talisman from the Key of Solomon, right? So for Saturn, you're going to have Cassiel and on one side, and then the seal for Amaliel and Arakia and Zakia on the other side, right? And that looks like all right, sorry. Yeah, it looks like this. It'll be this one over here. Oh shit, you can't see it over there. There it is. All right. So it'll be like that on one side and this on the other side. And that'll be your silver talisman that you get with the box. And the box will let you light the light. I got to get more crystal balls. Actually, it looks like I have one left. I have one tiny crystal ball left. So yeah, I've got enough to make like one set. So whoever gets it first. No rush. All right. So that's what I got going on with stuff. And I understand. I saw the comment about the... If you call now, we'll include. Yeah, I know. So the way they set it up for the membership things on this fucking thing is it encourages you to do that, right? So to make it make sense, you know, they end up making you look like Bob Barker on fucking Price is Right, and I hate it, and I hate that kind of thing, you know, and it's just like, but I really just can't think of a better way to do it. Like I was thinking about getting a Patreon as the other option. I might be doing that for my woodworking stuff. I'm not sure, but just the videos and stuff for people with headsets eventually, maybe. But the stuff, I don't know. This just, it makes a better venue, and I'm not making any more money than I was before. It's just a different way of doing it. And actually what I'm going to be doing is at the end of the year, I'm going to get rid of the classes altogether, because it's costing me like $600 a year for no apparent reason. Honestly, I'm at this point, I could do the same thing on YouTube for free, you know, without having to pay an extra $600. So I'm going to be restructuring my website over time. But for now, I'll just go ahead and keep using the system with the accounts and all that stuff if you want to just keep doing the free stuff. But none of the material will be unavailable. It's just going to be accessible in a different way. But this is the easiest way for me to do stuff that is... that provides the stuff, the value information that people were paying me for anyway. So yeah. All right. Yeah. And also people have been asking what I'm going to do with the Zeus cult. Well, this is basically it. Okay. This is how you're going to get your access to the different levels and the little trinkets and talismans and whatnot. If you want to just buy them, you can just buy them too. Oh. So, speaking of which, not that. Let's go back to here. All right, so this is just for like information stuff, training, help with rituals, help with stuff that I've found out that works for stuff like, you know, stuff that you could figure out on your own if you had time to, but I think it adds value to your life, right? So that's what this stuff here is about. It's just about stuff that I think is valuable. I think this stuff is valuable too, the extra stuff that you're going to get out of that. But this is like for people who don't have that deep of a level of interest. This is for people who are at that phase where they want the extra help, you know, and it's what you end up paying for if I'm offering it as like a separate class. Why did I come back to this? Oh yeah, all right. So this stuff, the Hecaton Kairos talisman, and the Rebel Orphan medal, and if you go back to the lightning mint thing, so for each of these things, I talk about the Rebel Orphan phase, the Zeus cult, what was going on there, and how it relates to your occult thing, learning pharmacopoeia and learning conjuration, right? These are things that I want to offer, right, as a way to like kind of validate or recognize your achievements as you perform these things. Learning pharmacopoeia and learning conjuration, that's finishing the Principles of Planetary Magic, the Tutelary Magic course, and the Conjuration class, right? That's basically what I consider learning Pharmacopoeia, right? Because you should be able to do this when you're done, right? So if you want to do this, it's going to be something I'm going to be offering for free, of course, on the side of all this stuff. But I will be charging for the talismans that go along with it. All right, and yeah, stuff like that. So yeah. So, and also, what I want to talk about initiations, right? I want to do initiations in person initiations where you go through transformative information initiations here in my local temple space, right? Where we actually do Hermetic initiations, like in person, either in groups or in one-on-one sessions with just like in a very like specific setting, assuming everything is actually like kosher and we aren't like creeped out or whatever, you know. But eventually, you know, I would like to get to a point where we're offering that also as a service, because I think there's something that I figured out about harmonics that is life changing that I'd like to share with other people, and more information on that as things continue. But that's where that whole part about what was I talking about? Where the oh yeah, I remember over here. Where when I talk about these public events and whatnot, you know, eventually I want to do like initiatory things where we have like a campground where we like sit around and listen to harmonics at a certain pitch and tone that are attuned to the planetary note, and do a conjuration that involves that, and the transformative script, and the drawing down of the powers, and the distribution of the talismans, and all the things that go along with it as we conjure the spirits together to create that harmonic, right, that resonance. I think that would be really cool to do around a giant fucking campfire, you know, and I think it would be fun to do at a specific campground here in Washington. So, but that's what I'd like to do. That's what I have in mind, in case you wonder. Eventually I'd like to get my own property where we could do that kind of thing off in the forest without like fear of danger. And it would have to be when things are not super dry and during a fire risk, of course. But anyway, that's where things are at with things. Let's see. I saw in your past stream about changing out the 6 names for the better translation for the sub. Would you recommend subbing out the old 6 names for the new 6 names on all scripts? I don't recommend that, no, but I was just thinking about that tonight, actually. I was just literally thinking about that. The reason I don't do it myself is because I don't know the other 6 names well enough. I've been doing it with the wrong 6 names for so long that it's a harmonic now in my vibe, and I'm having a hard time letting go of it. But that's on me. It's not, I shouldn't be putting that out in the rest of the universe. So probably yes, Julian, you're probably right. We should probably get rid of it. That would be the ideal and appropriate thing, I think. But actually, I don't know what they are, to be quite frank. I don't know what they are. I do have that link somewhere around here, but haven't used them, you know, but I have used the ones that I have used, and whether they are appropriate or not, I seem to get a certainly effective effect. So I have a hard time justifying making changes, even though they are more accurate and authentic to things that are already working, mostly because I'm lazy, but that's just, I'm working on it. So yeah, I probably would go ahead and recommend it for other people. I'm more stubborn. I'll have to look it up though, and I'll have to update the script now. Thanks, Julian, for pointing that out. Any more corrections? No, just kidding. I do appreciate all that stuff. I just don't like the work that comes with being accurate, but I do understand the importance of the authentic clarity for obvious reasons, right? So sure, yeah, we should definitely do that. All right, I'm gonna hop off. Have a great evening. I will talk to you guys next week. And also, by the way, I'm doing my chant, my daily chant on Mondays through Sundays, actually every morning at 8 a.m. now on the live broadcast. Should be ad-free if everything is going appropriately. So that's what's going on with that. All right, anyway, take care. I'll talk to you.